Good morning and welcome to Williams Dog Training Company. We're here today with Fred and Scout, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today is Scout's ability to understand and respond to his obedience commands, the corrections and motivations we give him while we're working with him, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he's going to keep the bulk of that leash folded neatly in his right hand, leaving his left hand free to give the correction. The correction that we give is a tug and let go to the training collar, which is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Scout's been fitted with his own personal training collar, and we'll show you how to properly use this during your one-on-one lesson. As you can see, Scout is seated on Fred's left, which is where all our obedience training is done. The first command they'll demonstrate is heeling, which is proper walking on a leash, and Fred and Scout take off doing that now. The command you want to use for this is Scout heel, and then you start walking and he'll fall right in line on your left-hand side. And we've also gone ahead and incorporated our sit command into this, as you saw right there. Anytime Fred stops his feet, Scout will sit. There's this again. Now it's important when you're heeling Scout that he walks nicely at your pace on your left-hand side without trying to pull ahead or lag behind. If he did attempt to pull ahead or lag behind, say no, give a tug and let go correction to his training collar, repeat the command to heel, and then start walking again. Now the next command they'll demonstrate is our stay command, which is a hand and voice command. Fred uses the open flat of his left palm, an inch or so from Scout's muzzle, and the one-word command to stay. He walks out to the end of the training leash. This is a great exercise to build up self-control in Scout. You want to start practicing this one at about a minute's time and work your way up in increments until you get to about 3 minutes. Now as Fred returns back to Scout, he's going to walk all the way around him, providing an added distraction as he goes behind, and right back to that left-hand side heel position. Scout holds that sit-stay throughout. Fred gives him some praise and then heels him right out of it. And he'll show you a little more of the heel, sit, and stay. There's that sit. Now he's going to have him in a sit. You'll give him the stay one more time, and back out to the end of that training leash. Now this time Fred will give him a minute to hold this position, and then he'll demonstrate our come or recall command instead of returning back to Scout. Calls him in using his name. Scout gets right up, comes into Fred, sits in front. And then we have an exercise called the finish. Fred's going to heel Scout right around the back of him and gets him right back to his left-hand side heel position. And he sits. He'll demonstrate that recall one more time. You have Scout in a sit, give him a stay, out to the end of your training leash. He gives him a second to hold this position, and then he'll call him into him using his name. Scout gets right up, comes into Fred. He'll sit in front. And then the finish one more time. Fred heels him right around the back of him and gets him right back to his proper left-hand side heel position. And he sits. That's a good time to remind you want to practice all your commands with Scout about 15 to 20 minutes a day. It helps to keep the commands fresh in his mind. You can practice inside or outside your home and just incorporate the commands with him into your daily routine. Next up are going to be our down commands. The first one's down from a heel position. Fred's going to use the open flat of his left palm straight down to the ground and the one-word firm command to down. He then gives Scout a stay and walks out to the end of that training leash. This is another great exercise to build up that self-control, and this one you can start practicing at about 3 minutes time and work your way up in increments until you get to about 5 minutes. Now as Fred returns back to Scout, he's going to walk all the way around him as he did on the sit stay, and right back to that left-hand side heel position. Scout holds that down throughout, and Fred heels him right out of it. I'll show you that down again one more time when they come back around. Now you see Scout's doing very well, but if for any reason he does not respond to one of your commands, it's always important to follow through. So the first word out of your mouth would always be no, followed by a tug and let go correction to his training collar, and then you're going to repeat the command you'd given him. With a mastiff in particularly, as a larger breed, you usually want to give them an extra second or two to get into those sits before you would give the correction, as they do tend to slow themselves right into it, as he just did right there. Now Fred gives him the down again, and a stay, and back out to the end of that training leash. And this time he'll give Scout a second to hold this position, and then he'll demonstrate that come or recall command right out of the down position. Calls him in, Scout gets right up, comes into Fred, he's going to sit in the front. And then the finish one more time, Fred's going to heel him right around the back of him, and gets him right back to his proper left-hand side heel position. Alright, we'll give them a second to get lined up for our down from a distance command. This will be the down from a distance. Oop, he's going to do the down one more time. And a stay. Back out to the end of the leash. Calls him in. Scout gets right up, comes into Fred, sits in front, and then the finish, he heels him right around the back of him and gets him back to his left-hand side heel position. Now they'll get lined up for our down from a distance command. Okay, you're going to have Scout in a sit, give him a stay, walk out to the end of your training leash. Now this is the only time you're going to use your right hand to give the command, and Fred will drop Scout into the down from the end of the training leash. He then returns back to him once again by walking all the way around, and right back to that left-hand side heel position. Excellent job. Alright, we've demonstrated for you our basic obedience commands. Now we've also gone ahead and just started to advance Scout's training a little bit. So Fred's going to show you just a little bit of that as well. Obviously we do not intend for you to do this immediately with him when he first goes home. We want you to work on his commands on leash at first and give him 15 to 20 minutes a day. But this will just show you what you can build up to with him as long as you put in that 15 to 20 minutes. So Fred had him in a sit, he gave him a stay, dropped the leash, he walked away from him completely and did a little lap around, all the way back. Scout held that sit stay, Fred got back to him, gave him the down, still off leash. Gave him the stay, walked all the way around again, and Scout holds that down. Fred comes all the way back. Excellent job. Alright, we've demonstrated for you the basic obedience work that we've done with Scout while here at school. It's been a pleasure working with Scout, and we thank you again for choosing Williams Dog Training Company as your personal dog trainer.